All right, everyone. So they tell me it's cold outside. 23 degrees. Is that really that cold? I don't know. Thank you. My thing is usually it's 100 degrees in San Antonio. So just subtract the 23 degrees from 100 and feel the 80-degree weather or close to 80 degrees. People in the audience, do not talk to people in the box. Do not signal to them. Do not smile at them. Do not try to pick up a date with them. Number one, you shouldn't because they're in custody. I see laughter, but guess what? People have tried to pick up with dates with inmates, and inmates have tried to date people in the audience. They only want you to help them with their bond money, so do not do it. If you talk to them, what's going to end up happening, if you're not on the docket, the deputy is going to tap you on the shoulder. You will need to leave the courtroom. Do not try to make any explanations. Just leave the courtroom. You will only be allowed back in this courtroom if you are needed as a witness. All right, everyone, it's going to be a great Friday Eve. Please confer. Joe Hernandez. Hi, counsel. How's it going?
Good morning, Judge. How
Good
are
morning.
you?
All right.
Morning.
Good morning. So this is your dismissal.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
Appreciate your time.
All right, you're welcome. And thank you for always dressing appropriately for court.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Have a good day, okay? All right, Roger Mims. All right, hi, good morning. So where are we? Because state, did you tender an offer? Okay. And sir, how old are you?
How old am I?
Mhm.
29.
20?
29.
29?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. People never believe people when they say they're 29. They always think they're fudging. We don't believe it. We think you're fudging. When I was 29, people would say, you're just fudging, because people say you hold on to 29 for as long as possible. Yeah. Let me see here.
And then it becomes 39.
Oh, let me just tell you, the years fly by after you hit 29, really after 18.
They really do.
And then you take the long, quick walk to responsibilities.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to set this for March 17th. That's your plea deadline date.
Judge, I will be on vacation.
Ah,
I've
what's
got
your
it.
vacation time?
I think it's the 8th through the 17th. It's on file, but I know it's right in that window. I think the 17th is the last day.
All right, so we'll set this for plea deadline date. Ms. Ferguson Mims is to come back on March 20th for plea deadline.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, once you sign the reset form, you are excused. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. And counsel, before it's Tochi, before you leave, if y'all can make sure I have an acknowledgement of discovery.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Come on, Judge.
Good morning. So you finished with your trials. You're on the lookout. People want you in trial.
I got sentencing at 1:30 today.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, so the last time we were here, there was a cell phone extraction. Where are we on that?
Your Honor, I'm not there. Okay. Restricted, single government challenge, and then I followed up again today.
If you can't leave it there, I understand. I need to bring him in first.
Judge, this case is getting pretty darn old.
Oh, it is. Let me just tell you what we're gonna do.
Yes.
Are you available next week, Mr. DeLeon?
I'm always available for the 187th, Judge.
Oh, thank you. What's a good date for you next week?
If the 175th doesn't grab me again.
Mhm.
I'm happy to come back whenever the court wants next week.
Well, do you want Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday?
I'll be happy with Tuesday.
All right, so we're gonna come back on the 25th. And on the 25th state, if he does not have the cell phone extraction, you'll need to have your officer ready to be subpoenaed to be here on the 25th to explain why there's no extraction. All right, is there anything else?
No, Judge.
All right, thank you.
All righty, thank you, Judge.
All right, do you have any questions, Mr. Smith?
Oh, man, not that I can think of.
All right, thank you. I'm trying to make sure that your counsel has all of the discovery he's entitled to, okay?
Yes,
We wanted fast, so next week is pretty good.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Let's have a seat. So we can keep talking.
All right, thank you. All right, court is calling 2024 CR 0127331 State versus Cody Lane Cross. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Rick Pena for the state of Texas.
Defense?
Morning, Judge Mark Garland for the defendant, Cody Kraus.
And are you Cody Cross? All right, you entered a plea of no contest to count 4 on February 3rd. The state waived counts 1, 2, and 3 without objection. And defense counsel waived a PSI. Is that correct, defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so we're here for sentencing. According to your plea bargain agreement, the state is proceeding on count 4 only. They're asking that your punishment be assessed at a cap of 6 years in the prison. There's a $1,500 fine. The state will make no recommendation to your application for community supervision. And the state opposes your application for deferred adjudication. This is run concurrent with 2024 CC 742862. State is taking in consideration 2024 CC 742860 and 2024 AL 004803. And there's to be no contact with the complainant. Defense, do you have any witnesses?
I don't, Your Honor, but an issue that arose at the last date that the court was ready to sentence Mr. Kraus was you had asked me to contact the Durant County, Oklahoma clerk for purposes of trying to find out what was going on up there, and I have some information for the court.
Oh, yes.
So, Your Honor, he's got a one case number with 2 misdemeanor charges in Durant County, Oklahoma. The pending charges up there are driving under the influence of dangerous drugs and possession of dangerous drugs. So again, apparently the way they do it up there is one case number, but 2 counts, so to speak. So going further in my conversation with the clerk, again, I know this is hearsay, but having heard no objection, I wanted to tell you that what the clerk represents is that like Texas, she doesn't know if they're going to place a hold on him here and come and get him within 10 days. So I can't make any representations to the court in that regard. If they, just based on my experience for misdemeanors, I generally speaking, I'd find it unusual for one state to go pick up another. But again, that's kind of anecdotal, and I know you know as well as anyone what the likelihood of that is. But in any case, Judge, we're asking that the court grant Mr. Kraus deferred adjudication. And I know that probation has also been applied for and that the state is neutral on our application for probation, but it's our position that if you give him regular probation, then he'll be somewhat hamstrung in terms of his ability to obtain gainful employment because he'll have a felony conviction. So with all due respect, we'd ask that if he has a chance at some sort of community supervision, that it be deferred so he's not addled with the felony conviction if he goes forth and tries to succeed. And just as a reminder for the court, we had a witness named Ms. Regalado, who's here again today, that testified about his time in the foster care system and stuff like that. So he's had a rough go of it. And then finally, I'd ask the court to take notice that his actions have not been without consequence. He's done a lot of days in jail. And so again, we're asking the court to grant him deferred adjudication at this time.
All right, and the court remembers the previous testimony. And correct me if I'm wrong, if my memory is wrong, but I believe the witness testified that the complainant was not supposed to be on the housing. It was just the defendant. And the defendant allowed or requested that the complainant be under his housing so that she and her children would have a place to stay. Is that correct? All right, so this is what the court is wrestling with. But for the fact that this was his housing and the complainant technically was not supposed to be living under his housing voucher, but he took her in because she had children. If that issue wasn't there, you'd be going to prison. It would not be any type of constraint for me as far as sending you to prison. But I have to sort of weigh that. But then on the other hand, I'm weighing it with what I'm reading in the police report. That's an issue for me. Because what I'm reading in the police report is she called saying that you were in violation of your bond and were attempting to break down her door, which is your residence, and that you were just placed in jail for the same thing. And you had the no contact order in place, but you still went over there. So I don't know if you want to address that. And you're telling the officers, it's just a misdemeanor. So do you want to address that for the court? I mean, if you don't have to. I mean, you waived your right to remain silent by entering into this plea. But if you don't want to address it, you don't have to. But that's my concern. My concern is that you knew you were not supposed to be there. You were just released from jail. And it states, upon my arrival, and this is the police, I identified suspect 1 by asking his name, to which matched the key card, and I placed suspect in handcuffs. Suspect stated he just got out of jail at approximately 1 a.m. and arrived at the location on bus because he just wanted a place to sleep. Suspect stated that the listed location was his home and that he did not know he had a protective order. Suspect, however, contradicted himself by stating he made contact with the witness 1, that's Jasmine, through the phone, asking witness 1 to leave. I explained to suspect that he was not allowed to have any contact with witness 1. Suspect stated he did know he had no contact order with witness 1 while in the back seat of my patrol car. They patted you down for weapons. And while in the back of the patrol car, I gave commands for suspect to move his feet inside the patrol car, which suspect became non-compliant. I informed suspect it would be in his best interest to comply, so he would not catch an additional charge for resisting arrest, search, and transportation. Suspect stated it's just a misdemeanor. And then you proceeded to kick the car door. And then the other problem is, witness stated officers were at the listed location earlier this morning. Witness stated that during that incident, she reported the suspect calling her, threatening to harm her, and suspect stated he was going to show up to the above listed residence. And so there's a police report for that. And then it says you showed up at the above listed residence at approximately 5:55 hours by transportation of the via bus to the residence. Witness then stated prior to Officer Watts and my arrival, suspect was attempting to enter the residence by kicking the door with his foot and hitting the door with a rock. I observed what were shoe marks located on the door near the lower side of the door handle. Witness also stated suspect threw a rock at the door and attempted to throw it at the apartment balcony door, where I observed the rock located on the apartment balcony. So, do you want to say anything?
Your Honor,
You want to raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
so,
All right, and then it says, suspect stated that when he showed up to the residence, he was going to kick witness 2, Christopher Nunn, in the head and stomp on his chest. Suspect then made threats to witness 3, Dylan Moore, stating he was going to catch him and beat him up. All right, what would you like to say?
so with that being said, I know what the paperwork says, Your Honor, and, please.
I'm sorry, you need to speak up. I can't hear you.
I know what the paperwork said, and I understand that's, that was who I am, who I was. And these last 5.5 months that I've been incarcerated, I've learned my lesson. I have time to sit down and think. Me and Jasmine have kids together, which are currently in foster care right now.
No,
I understand it.
no, when you say you all have children together that are currently in foster care, your witness testified at the previous hearing that Jasmine needed a place for her and her children to stay. Usually when people say her children, That means that they're not your biological children.
They're my biological children.
They are your biological children? Okay.
I don't know why she said it was like that, but they're my children. Xavier Kraus and Emery Kraus. I just had a baby girl. I just
All right,
had-
that changes that changes things for the court then, because I thought this was a complainant who just needed a place to stay with her children.
this is
That's the way the
mother-
testimony was given to me, that they were not your biological children.
This is the mother of my children.
Okay.
We've been together for it would have been 5 years last year in November.
All right, so that means that she should have been under the housing then.
She wasn't under the housing, when she made the statement, calling and, she wasn't there for the first 2 months that I was supposed to get a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Was because I found a week before I got housing, I found out my baby mama was cheating on me.
You mean the mother of your children?
Mother of my children, she was cheating on me. So we broke things off and I went off and got the apartment by myself. I eventually got over it and I forgave her within that 1 month and a half. And I had asked her to come back home because she had my kids out in College Station. And the only reason why I allowed her to come back was because I wanted to be with my kids. My kids are everything to me. They're the reason why I'm not in prison as right now. Because, Your Honor, I should be in prison for a lot more worse things, but I'm not. And because of my children, they have made me to the person I am today. I would, you know what I'm saying, I would really like the probation because I really have learned my lesson, Your Honor. I really have. This is a very long 5.5 months that I've been incarcerated, and I really, really, really know that I'm not supposed to contact Yasmin, and that won't be an issue.
How long were you in custody before you went to the home trying to kick the door in?
8 days, exact.
Okay.
And I was still furious because I know for a fact only me and God would know that I didn't do anything to that girl but come home that night from St. Louis from my dad's.
So did you threaten her on the phone?
No, I did not threaten her.
So you stipulated to it.
I threatened Dylan because I told him that he's gonna have to, at that time, he was gonna have to fight with me because he went and asked, because I was allowing him to stay with me. Granted that I have housing that none of them are supposed to be there with me, but I'm risking my house to help others, you know what I'm saying, help him. And he went.
It's a sad situation that you're allowing random people to stay in a house and you have young children.
And it wasn't a random person, it was Mr. Christopher, her brother, his family friend. It was somebody that basically his brother. I never threatened Christopher at all. I actually have him.
No, it's as though no one's looking out for the children. You have a 2-bedroom apartment that the taxpayers are helping
No,
you
a 1
secure.
bedroom.
Well, a 1-bedroom apartment that you're having taxpayers help you with. And you have the mother of your children in there. How many children do you have?
2.
You have 2 children. You have yourself. I'm assuming there's 1 bathroom. And now you're bringing in random people that the taxpayers didn't agree to pay for.
Your Honor, I have a huge heart.
No,
I
because
really
here's the
do.
thing. I don't understand why people get free things through the taxpayers because we're paying for it. And then your free heart is really not free. You're giving what somebody has given to you and paid for, and you're acting as though, it's your money when it's not. When you have these funded places that are funded by the taxpayers, you're not supposed to have everybody living with you. This Dylan person who you're saying is a friend of the mother of your children, you really don't know anything about him. And you're letting him stay in here, this random guy, be around your children. That's not a good parent.
At the time he was living with us, we didn't have the children.
Oh, where were the children?
With a family friend because we were dealing with a CPS case.
This just keeps getting worse. Any questions?
Just a brief question, Judge. So are you right now obligated to perform a CPS service plan? Do you have obligations to CPS so that you can try to maintain your parental rights?
Case right now, the CPS caseworker comes and sees me every month.
Okay. And is that another reason you're asking Judge Boyd to consider probation so that you
Yes.
can perform your service plan?
Mhm.
Okay, pass the witness, Judge.
And where are the children?
The children are with the family friend that was, that they've been in custody with for the past 5 months.
All right, and when you went to go kick down this door or attempted to kick down this door, were the children in?
No, ma'am.
So CPS was already involved. All right. This is what the court is going to do. Court is finding you guilty. This will run concurrent with 2024 CC 742862. Taking consideration 2024 CC 742860, 2024 AL 004803. There's to be no contact with Jasmine Nunn, N-U-N-N. And the court will sentence you to 5 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served, and I'll request the therapeutic community. Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Your Honor, may I ask you a question?
Sure.
Why am I going to prison?
Why are you going to prison?
Breaking into my own apartment.
All right, let me explain something to you, and I'm sure your attorney explained it to you. When you have a protective order, in that protective order, it tells you what you're not allowed to do. Usually in a protective order, it will tell you there are certain locations you can't go to. There are certain people you can't be around. I'm sure in your protective order, it states that you were not allowed to be around Jasmine Nunn. You did it anyway. I'm sure in the protective order, it told you were not to go to that location. You did it anyway. That's a court order. When you violate court orders, that's a signal to the court that you're probably not going to abide by conditions of probation. Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it? Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to your attorney. Counsel, did you go over the Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney?
I did, Judge.
And did he sign that?
He did.
All right, thank you.
Let's go
Judge,
forward.
will the court retain jurisdiction for purposes of consideration of shock probation?
Sure. All right, who is here on Jose Maciel?
Morning, Judge.
Good morning.
So we have a plea agreement on the case. He's gonna plead to the misdemeanors and we're gonna TIC the felony.
All right, when is that misdemeanor going to take
It's
place?
set April 3rd, but I can contact the court to get an earlier date.
All right, if you'll contact them to get an earlier date and then let me know what that date is, and then I'll put it on the calendar.
Okay,
All
sounds good.
right.
All right, thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. Mr. Maciel, just wait until you get your reset form, okay? Thank you. All right, which client do you have, sir?
Jose Maciel, Judge.
All right, Jose Maciel, if you'll come up.
We got the misdemeanor set for our March 19th, Judge.
Okay. All right, we're going to recall you back on March 20th. Of course, as everything is taken care of, he won't need to be here.
Perfect.
All right, once you sign the reset form, you're excused. Thank you for dressing appropriately for court.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you, Judge.
welcome. Hello. Hi. So it's the court's understanding that Judge Angelini took this plea. Just one moment. All right, so it's the court's understanding that Judge Angelini took this plea, and Judge Angelini ordered you to have no driving for the rest of your life. What I can tell you is legally, I placed the order what it should be legally, and legally what it is no driving for the duration of your probation. So you're not allowed to drive for the duration of your probation. If you wish to have a petition for occupational driver's license, then Angelini will need to hear that, because he's the one who heard your case and ordered that you were not to drive for the rest of your life. So I changed the order to no driving for the duration of your probation based upon Angelini requesting that you not drive at all. So if you would like, what I can do is I can have this heard by Judge Angelini since he's the one who took your plea. Would you like that?
Yes, please.
All right. Ms. Ferguson, can you call Judge Angelini and see when he will be able to hear this occupational license? All right, just have a seat. We'll see if he's in the building today. If he is, he'll be able to hear it.
Judge,
You're welcome.
we just need to also, address some additional concerns.
Yes,
In regards to the original conditions of probation
yes.
that Judge Angeli put forth. I don't know if you want him to hear those. I know that you've signed a couple of supplemental reports.
Yes.
So one of the conditions was for her to have an ignition interlock on her vehicle. That vehicle is inoperable.
Mhm.
However, she does have the ignition interlock installed on that vehicle. There was a supplemental report submitted indicating they wanted to try to possibly get her a portable device because her husband primarily used the vehicle that was inoperable, and I think they were thinking about getting it fixed or something to that effect. And then she did notify me this morning that they're just keeping the ignition interlock on the vehicle that's inoperable. She is able to test on that. However, her husband does have a vehicle that does not have anything installed. So I wanted to bring that to the court's attention so that we can make sure that we're all on the same page on how you would like to proceed.
Let's have Angelini come in first to address this petitions, this occupational license, because once that's addressed, then I will
Well-
know with regards to the ignition interlock. Okay?
Thank
All
you,
right, thank
Judge.
you.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning. How's it going?
It is going well, a little chilly.
Oh, yeah. But pretty soon it's going to be 100 degrees and everyone is going to complain about it being 100 degrees.
Mhm.
So are you ready to proceed on the motion to revoke?
Your Honor, we are not ready. I have conferred with the state and with probation. I believe we have an agreement in place. The issue is, Mr. Gibson currently has a hold out of Zavala County on another case.
Mhm.
Through talking with probation, I think that what we were wanting to do was just ask the court for a short reset so we can figure out what exactly is happening with that case, before we proceed with this MTR.
All right. And did you confer with the state?
I did, Your Honor.
So how much time are you requesting?
I don't think we need very long, 2 weeks if the court would give us that.
Ms. Ferguson? On this case, if you'll recall this in 2 weeks, please.
Yep.
And it is Isaiah Gibson.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
March 6th, Judge.
March 6th.
All right, we'll bring you back on March 6th. Who's here on April Gonzalez? All right. Yes,
Morning, Your Honor.
good morning.
I'm here on a bond setting for Ms. Ramirez/Gonzalez.
Mhm.
She has two different names.
All right, let's start with this before we get to that. What is happening with the motion to revoke?
So there's a third case that is unindicted, sealed. We don't know, and I'm reluctant to do anything with the MTR, so we know what she's charged with on those. So
I believe it's actually fifth case, Your
our
Honor.
fifth case, yes, I apologize.
Mhm.
As well as a misdemeanor.
All right, so this is what the court is doing. We're proceeding on these motions to revoke within 10 days, and it's going to be a contested. Either you all are going to do something with it or not. So, Ms. Ferguson, I need a 10-day reset for a contested on the tampering with the government record and the possession case. And then we'll handle your bond issue.
Well, Judge, did it make sense to make a bond issue after we resolve the case
No. What I'm going to do is, what I said was, this is going to be set
for 10
in
days?
10 days.
Yes, ma'am.
And then now you say you have a
Oh,
bond
Yes, ma'am.
issue, a bond request.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so let me give you this date and then we'll take up the bond matter. That's
Good enough.
what I said.
March 3rd, Judge.
All right. March 3rd is contested hearing. So state whatever witnesses you need. Now, with regards to bonds, what cases are you requesting bond for?
On the two MTRs.
All right. All right. And I'm sorry, did you file a motion? Or
Yes,
no?
ma'am.
Could I have the motion for the bonds request on April Gonzalez and April Ramirez?
Yes.
It's 2021 CR 8086. And also 2021 CR 8074. All right, the court is calling DC 2021 CR 8068 and all right, and 2021 CR 8074. State versus April Gonzalez. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state? For the defense?
Matt Stolhansky for the defense.
All right, and are you April Gonzalez and April Ramirez?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, defense has filed a motion to set bond in each of these cause numbers. Have parties had a chance to confer on an appropriate bond amount?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, in defense, what are you requesting?
And Your Honor, we were asking for $10,000 each. We can live with.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
April Gonzalez.
All right, Ms. Gonzalez, you're currently on probation out of this court. The questions I'm going to ask you are not about the allegations in the motion. It's just for me to set appropriate conditions for you. All right, so have you in the past ever used any controlled substances? Have you in the past ever been diagnosed with any type of mental health issues? Have you ever been placed on any type of medication for any mental health issues? All right. Then in cause number 2021 CR 8068, the court will set your bond at $3,000. And in cause number 2021 CR 8074, court is going to set your bond at $15,000. And the court is going to order GPS full waive fees. And I'm going to give you a reset form. You'll need to be back here on March 3rd. Is there anything else from either side with regards to bond?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we can go off the record. All right, counsel, if you'll just have her sign
Yes,
that,
ma'am.
please.
My hair.
And if you need a copy of the orders, they will give it to you in the back.
Yes, ma'am. Need one?
No. Never knows what it's going to go. Plus, maybe first to get my second.
All right, and if you could see if they need a copy, if you need a copy of the order.
I'm good with it, Your Honor.
All right, thank
Thank you.
you.
Your Honor, then, Mr. Ramirez. Eric Hernandez on the two new cases.
All right, just give me a moment.
Sure thing.
All right. Who is the person on April Gonzalez for the new cases? Counsel, have you received all the discovery?
Your Honor, we have received some discovery. I believe it is complete. Because the MTRs are being recalled in 10 days, I'm asking that these also be recalled to the same date as the state is working on a global offer that will likely encompass these MTRs as well.
All right, so we'll recall it for March 3rd.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. All right, who's here on Jared Castro? David Castro? Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
We're missing a lot of discoveries.
Okay. All right, and where's your client?
In the back.
All right, here, come forward. All right, who's the prosecutor on this? It's family violence, I believe. All right, so it appears that this is the first setting. Does anybody know, is CPS involved in this?
No, Judge.
Okay, so there should not be any CPS records. So it's a first setting for discovery. So off docket, you all need to confer.
I did, Judge. And I'm gonna tender, we'll file this letter, but this is some of the stuff that we're missing, but it's not an all-inclusive list, but I'll
Alright.
file it with the court.
All right, do you have a copy of this?
We'll send them. I'll make a copy and leave it with them.
All right, so if you'll make a copy of this for them. And then,
And there's one other thing, there's one other item, Your Honor. My understanding is that the complainant in this case has a criminal case pending in Bear County.
Mhm.
I would like to file on that.
All right, so if you'll add that to your list.
Yes, Judge.
And as far as the indictment, Deputy Laura can give him the indictment today.
Okay, Judge.
Deputy Laura, do you have the indictment on David Castro? All right, so,
I can fully judge.
all right, so they'll pull a copy of that today, so the indictment will be taken care of.
And what I will do, Judge, just
Mhm.
because when they send stuff to e-discovery,
Mhm.
it is labeled differently than when it comes down to us.
Okay,
So I will provide the court with what we receive and how we receive it.
all right, and so on this, he's asking for sane photos. And I understand there may not be issues with that as far as where you can view those.
That's fine. It's not a child, Judge. It's an adult.
Ah, okay. All right. So I'm gonna bring this back in 45 days.
Okay.
You all should probably have at least had some of the good discovery. Ms. Ferguson, I need a 45-day reset for discovery.
Thank you, Your
You're
Honor.
welcome. And it's on Castro.
April 7th. And Your Honor, in regards to the criminal.
You said a criminal,
Last
Case
time
pending?
sure, Judge. Last time we were here on a writ of habeas corpus, I believe Raymond Angelini was sitting for you. I mentioned to the prosecutor at that time that I thought that there was a criminal case pending against the complainant in Bear County. She didn't know anything about it. I have verified that today there is a criminal case pending in Bear County on the complainant.
okay. All right, so if y'all will confer on what specifically you're asking for with regards to that criminal case, if there's an issue and I need to make a ruling, just let me know. All right, so you need to make sure you're on time for court next time. You understand?
He was, Judge, that was my fault. I was talking to him in the hallway and I told her I would bring him briefly to the hallway. My apologies, Judge.
Okay, sure.
I'll make sure she'll be here right at 9 for roll
He.
call. I apologize.
That's okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for dressing appropriately for court. Once you sign the reset form, you'll be excused.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Is there anything else?
No, Judge, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Yes,
You had called out a case that they dismissed.
yes. And I signed the dismissal.
Okay, good. Yeah, she's in custody.
Okay.
But some misdemeanor court appointed lawyer got 2 felonies dismissed for a plea on a misdemeanor. That's a pretty good lawyer.
Well, I have done that previously. Shocker or shocks. And it was when Canales was on the bench. And do you know, he ended up saying, I want to know
Yeah.
why, a felony plea is
Yeah.
being dismissed. I'm like,
Yeah. Well, somebody actually probably read the file.
yes, thank you.
It's amazing what you find out if you read the file.
Yes.
Yeah. Just because somebody put an indictment on top of it. Geez.
Exactly.
Thanks, Judge.
You're welcome. Have a good one. All right, if everyone could please whisper, court is calling 2024 CR 008305. State versus Cavanta Thomas and counsel. No talking behind the court reporter. If y'all could move that way. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
In Gallagher State.
Anthony Miller for Mr. Thomas.
All right, and Mr. Thomas is by Zoom. Any objection to Mr. Thomas appearing by Zoom, state? All right, Mr. Thomas, if you can unmute yourself, please. All right, are you Cavanta Thomas?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, do you have any objections to appearing by Zoom?
No, ma'am.
All right, so the defense has filed a motion to reinstate or amend bond conditions. The bondsman filed an affidavit to surrender surety. That is the reason that he is in custody. The previous bond amount was $75,000. State any objection to reinstating the bond amount? All right, a rearrest on what?
Not a rearrest, but a rearrest on that. On in this case, WI or my understanding is that he was remanded because he was rearrested for discharging a firearm.
That is correct, Your Honor. Initially, though, the bond was set
based on an aggravated robbery,
Mhm.
which, that is no longer the case. It's now an aggravated assault, with a deadly weapon.
Yes.
So we would ask the court if it would please consider keeping the bond at its original amount, Judge.
You're welcome. All right, so,
And just to clarify for the court judge, so on the misdemeanor case, he was placed on GPS full house arrest and he was abiding by those conditions once the court remanded him without bond.
all right, so here's the question, because I want it to be clear in my mind. So he's on bond out of this court for the ag assault with a deadly weapon.
Yes,
And then he is arrested for the new case,
that is correct, Judge. He picked up a new misdemeanor case.
and that's for discharging a firearm.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. Is there anything else from either side?
Nothing further, Judge.
All right, Mr. Thomas, I muted you because we were getting a lot of noise on your end. But if you can unmute yourself, I just have a few questions to ask you in regards to your bond. All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Devontae Thomas.
All right, Mr. Thomas, the questions I'm going to ask you, they're not related to the facts of your case or the alleged facts of your case. And I'm just going to speak to you and ask you questions about past activities. So in the past, have you ever used any type of controlled substance?
No, ma'am.
All right, in the past, have you ever had any mental health evaluations or diagnosis?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever been required to take any type of medication for mental health issues?
No, ma'am.
All right, this is what the court will do. The court is going to set the bond at $75,000. There's to be full GPS. I'll ask that the fees are waived.
Judge, is that, for clarification, Your Honor, is that full house arrest or?
Yes.
Okay. We would then ask the court to consider that Mr. Thomas is employed and needs to continue
Once
to
he
work.
brings the court proof of his employment, then the court will reconsider.
Okay. Now, excuse me.
Just one moment. Ms. Ferguson, on this case, I need a reset date for discovery, please, 30 days. Do you need the cause number? Okay.
It'll be, March
24th. All right, your new court date is going to be March 24th. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And it'll be at 9 a.m. All
Yes,
right,
ma'am.
thank you.